Welcome, friends. This is the third video that we are having in the module 2 of this great course that we are doing together. It is so practical, so important. I'm sure that you are enjoying it and you're increasing your capacity to be really able to bring about some positive change for the generation of now and of future. So before we proceed further, I'd like to recap a minute about what we discussed in the last video. As you remember, we referred to Brundtland report, where he talks about sustainable development for the first time, and he says that there are three elements that have to go hand in hand in development. One is economic, second is social, third is environmental. And that any of the projects that we have, any of the undertakings that we have for development, if we do, for example, economic development, but at the cost of environment or social, that's not correct. So we have to consider social inclusion always. We have to consider that there is environmental preservation always, and that there is economic growth. So these three should come together. And that, of course, requires innovation, requires thinking differently. And I'm sure that's what you are going to do now, and you're going to do in future, using your expertise, your academic knowledge, and what you learn during the internship while you are still in the college or the university. So now we proceed further discussing some other aspects of sustainable development. According to the United Nations System Staff College, they say UNSSC, you can see it on the internet, Knowledge Center for Sustainable Development. There's a very wonderful statement. Today we are basically going to focus on that part of that statement, which says the Agenda 2030 embodies the following core principles. So, what are the principles of Agenda 2030? You know, Agenda 2030 is the 17 goals and 169 targets that the world should achieve by 2030. Now, there are some core principles. The Agenda 2030 is universal in scope and commits all countries, irrespective of their income levels and development status, all of them to contribute towards a comprehensive effort for sustainable development. So, it's universal for everybody. No excuses, no exceptions. The agenda is applicable in all countries. Again, everybody should do it in their own countries, in all contexts, and at all times. That's what it means by universality, even the smallest countries in the world. Because this is an interconnected world. If you harm the environment in some part of the world, the impact will be there somewhere else. And sometimes if it is a very big thing, then the whole world will suffer. So we are all interconnected. Therefore, all of us together should achieve it. The second core principle of sustainable development and Agenda 2030 is leaving no one behind. The 2030 Agenda seeks to benefit all people and commits to leave no one behind by reaching out to all people in need and deprivation, wherever they are, and in a manner which targets their specific challenges and vulnerabilities. So it is universal and it does not leave anybody behind. All are going to be taken care by this Agenda 2030. Is it not wonderful? So there's a great need for separate local data to be generated, to analyze outcomes and track the progress. This new data which is required, we have never done it before because it is huge. Then only we are able to really address the needs of every person, every small community. And you remember we said earlier, this agenda is not for the governments alone. It's for governments, for businesses, for civil society, for the individuals, because the task is very great. The third core principle is interconnectedness and indivisibility. The 2030 agenda rests on the interconnectedness and indivisible nature of its 17 SDGs. They are all connected to each other, 17 goals. You cannot separate them from each other. It is crucial that all entities responsible for its implementation treat them as a whole instead of approaching them, as a list of individual goals from which you can pick up what you like. No, they are all interrelated. It's one agenda. The next core principle is inclusiveness. What does it mean? It means this agenda calls for participation of all segments of society, irrespective of their race, gender, ethnicity, identity. All of them should contribute to the implementation of Agenda 2030. Therefore, even when we go to the rural communities to implement development projects as part of this 4-credit course, we have to make sure we include everybody. They all should feel that it is them who are taking action. The next core principle is multi-stakeholder partnership. Now, we are talking now of the partnership coming together. The Agenda 2030 is calling for establishing multi-stakeholder partnership. Why? To mobilize and share knowledge, to share expertise, to share technology, to share financial resources, and to support the achievement of all the SDGs. So we need to come together. It's not one man's job. We have to bring all these partners together. Each one can support in their own way. As I just mentioned, they can help in sharing knowledge. Okay, there are those who generate knowledge. Suppose academia, universities, or research labs. Okay, expertise. There are institutions that are experts in certain aspects of social development, in certain aspects of technology, in certain aspects of environment. They can share, they should share. Technology they can share. Some are good in financial resources to share. For example, CSR, corporate social responsibility, the finances that the corporates, businesses can pour in for sustainable, for fulfilling Agenda 2030. All can support the achievement. So one of the important capabilities that you really need to develop in yourself is capability of networking with all these people.